Hello, this is going to be lesson A7, simplify complex fractions. Complex fractions, basically what is a fraction of rational expressions. So for example, here is an example of a complex fraction. Here you have a rational, another rational, and is a fraction of rational. Is a fraction of rational expressions. Basically the way you do it is, this means division. So basically what you can do is you copy the first fraction, and then we're going to put a division sign, and then we're going to copy the second fraction there. And if you remember how to do division of fractions, basically you're going to copy the first fraction, change the division sign 2 times, and you're going to flip the second fraction, which would be 9 over 6x squared. Now basically we're going to do the multiplication, but before we do the multiplication, we're going to see if we can cancel anybody. We notice that 9 goes into 9 one time, and 9 goes into 27 3 times. The 2, we're going to cancel with the 6, because 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 6 3 times. So on the top, I'm going to have 1x times 1 is 1x, which you can just write x. And on the bottom, it's going to be 3y squared times 3x squared. So it's going to be 9x squared y squared. Okay. Now we also notice that we can simplify the x over here, because the x on the bottom has the highest exponent. That means the x is going to stay on the bottom, and 2 minus the invisible 1 is going to be 1, and the y is going to stay the same, and we'll always put a 1 on top. So that will be my answer for the first problem there. Alright, let's go on to the next problem. Same strategy. We're going to copy the first fraction. We're going to change the division sign. Actually, we're going to put a division sign, and we're going to copy the second fraction. And if you want to skip this step and go ahead in your mind, go like copy the first, change it 2 times, and flip the second, you can. I'm just taking the extra step here because we're just introducing this idea or this lesson. But basically, division of fractions, you copy the first fraction, change it 2 times, flip the second fraction, and once you do that, you start canceling. Well, what can I cancel? I can cancel the 5 with the 15. 5 goes into 5 one time, 5 goes into 15 3 times. And we can cancel the x. We also can cancel the 2, because 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 6 3 times. And on top will be 9, and on the bottom will be a 1. So my final answer is 9. Alright, very well. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the next problem. Problem number 3. So let me move the paper. Okay. Basically this one, I have an addition of fractions on top and a subtraction of fractions on the bottom. So let's go ahead and do the addition and subtraction first. So I'm going to keep that line right there. And basically to add these two numbers, I need to have a common denominator. So my first term, okay, to be able to add these two numbers, I have to have a common denominator. So basically what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do it in red. Hopefully it will stand out on the video. I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 7. And then by doing that, I'm making sure that they're going to have the same denominator. On the bottom here, I'm going to multiply also top and bottom by 7. That way I'm going to have a common denominator of 7. And I can see that the red doesn't really stand out, so I'm just going to do everything in the same color. Okay. Alright. So now that I make sure that they have the same denominator, I can write one common denominator. And 2 times 7 is 14 plus 1. And on the bottom I had, I said 7, but I wrote 4. So it's 7 right here. Okay, and then here is going to be 7. And 3 times 7 is 21 minus 4. Alright. So this would be 15 over 7 over 21 minus 4 is 17 over 7. Okay, now I'm going to do the division, which is this guy right here. So basically I copied the first fraction, and you're going to put the division sign and copy the second fraction. But thinking about division of fractions, remember, you copy the first term, change the division sign to times, and we're going to flip the second term. That way we kind of skip a step there or take a shortcut. Okay, so basically copy the first term, change division to times, flip the second term. Okay, can we cancel anybody? We can cancel the 7. So the 7 goes away, and I'm left with 15 over 17. And that will be my answer for this problem. Alright, let's go to problem number 5. So problem number 5, problem number 4. I'm going to bring it to view here. Actually, I don't have problem number 4 yet, so let me write it down. Okay. Well, basically there's nothing I can do here on the top. On the bottom, there's not much I can do it. Other than we don't like this like this, so let's go ahead and switch these guys around. So that means this will be negative x plus 2. And we also don't like the negative in front, so let's factor out a negative 1. Alright, so let's rewrite this again. The only modification we did is on the bottom there, where instead of 2 minus x, we're going to write negative 1 x minus 2. Now we're ready to proceed with the division. So basically we copy the first fraction, and we're going to change the division to times, and we're going to flip the second term. So the negative 1 x minus 2 is going to come to the top, and the 10 goes to the bottom. Now the fun begins, where we start canceling things. So x minus 2 goes away. The 10 cancels with the 5. 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into 10 two times. So on the top I have negative 1x, or negative x. And on the bottom I have just a 2. So that means my final answer is negative x over 2. You can either leave your negative next to the x, or you can put right there in the middle. Either way, it will be correct. Okay? So let's go ahead and go on to problem number 5. Alright. So problem number 5. Problem number 5 will be x over y squared, and then y over x squared plus 1 over x, and over here it's going to be plus 1 over y. Alright. Okay, we need to have a common denominator. Okay, if you remember, when we did addition of fractions, we kind of line up the denominators. So here I have y squared for the first denominator, and then y for the second. And when I compare, the least common denominator, or LCD, is going to be the list of the factors with the highest exponent. So this would be y to the second power. So in other words, my common denominator needs to be y to the second power. So copy the first fraction. Am I missing anything from the LCD? No, so this guy is fine. Copy the second one. Is there anything missing here when I compare with the LCD? Yes, I'm missing a y. So multiply top and bottom by y. Same thing on the bottom. My denominators are x squared and x. So my LCD is x squared. So copy the first fraction. Compare the denominator with the LCD. I'm not missing anything, so fine. So go on and copy the next fraction. Compare that denominator with the LCD, and I'm missing an x, so multiply top and bottom by x. That will make sure that you have a common denominator, which we do now. We have y squared here, and here we're going to have x plus y. On the bottom, I'm going to have common denominator of x squared, and I'm going to have y plus x. Now we're ready to divide, so we're going to copy the first term. We're going to change the division to times, and we're going to flip the second term. Also, I notice this is y plus x, and here is written x plus y, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch them around, okay, because I'm foreseeing that we'll be able to cancel these, in which we can. So that means our final answer is going to be x squared, y squared. Okay, so that's the answer for number 5. Okay, this is going to be problem number 6. And first thing I notice here is that this denominator I can switch numbers around. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to rewrite this. X minus 4 minus 2 over, remember, let me here do it on the side. This would be 4 minus x, right? I'm going to switch them around. So this would be negative x plus 4. And we're also going to factor negative 1, so this would be x minus 4. So basically, this is negative 1, x minus 4. And here, we're going to have 2 x minus 4 minus 2 over x. Alright. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to find the LCD. So here on the side of the paper, I'm going to write down line up the denominator. So I have x minus 4 for the first. And so for the second one, I have negative 1 x minus 4. So that means my LCD is negative 1 x minus 4. Alright, very well. So that means I'm going to copy the one on the top. And I'm going to copy the first fraction, x minus 4. And I'm going to ask, what is missing from this denominator when I compare with the LCD? And I'm missing the negative 1, so I multiply top and bottom by negative 1. And I copy the negative, and I copy the second fraction. And again, I ask myself, what is missing when I compare this denominator with the LCD? And I notice that I'm not missing anything, so that means I don't do anything with this guy. Alright, on the bottom, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to compare the denominators. We have x minus 4. And the second denominator, we have x. So that means the LCD is going to be x minus 4x. Alright, with that in mind, we copy the first fraction. We ask ourselves, what are we missing from the denominator here when I compare with the LCD? And the answer is I'm missing an x, so I'm going to multiply top and bottom by x. And copy the second fraction, 2 over x. And compare with the LCD, and what am I missing? I'm missing x minus 4. Alright, so on the very top, we have a common denominator of negative 1 x minus 4. And on the top, I have 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 minus 2. On the bottom, I have a common denominator of x, x minus 4. On the top, I have 2 times x is 2x, and negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And please be careful here, I have to consider the negative with the 2. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. Alright, very well. Now that we have them, let's continue. Let me go ahead and erase here and do here on the side. So here we're going to have negative 5 on top, negative 1 x minus 4, divided by the 2x goes away, so I'm left with 8 x minus 4. Alright, now we're ready to do the division. So basically we're going to copy the first term and change the division to times, and copy the second term, but we're going to flip it. So the 8 goes on the bottom, and we have x minus 4. Alright, so that means here I'm going to cancel the x minus 4. I can go ahead and cancel the negative, and I believe that's it. So that means my final answer on top is going to be 5x, and on the bottom will be an 8. So that will be the answer for this problem. Alright, very well. Let's go on to the next problem, problem number 7. Remember, you can stop the video if you need to take a closer look at the problem. Okay. But here we are for problem number 7. It's going to be 1 over x over 4x minus 1 over x. Alright, very well. Okay. If we do our comparison, the denominator here is 1. We usually don't care about the 1. So, but the second denominator is an x. So what is my common denominator? My common denominator has to be an x. So, let me write there, LCD. I copy the first term, and what I'm going to multiply top and bottom? Multiply by x. That will assure me that I have a common denominator. Alright, let's copy the second term here. And we can basically use this here because the first denominator here is a 1 and the second one is an x, so my LCD is going to be an x. So that means when I copy my first term, what am I missing? Missing an x on the bottom. So multiply top and bottom by x, and I'm going to subtract 1 over x. Alright, very well. So now that we have a common denominator, on the top I have x and I have 2x plus 1. Over, on the bottom I also have x, but now I have 4x squared minus 1. Alright, very well. So basically, I can rewrite this as 2x plus 1 over x. And the one thing that I can rewrite is this guy right here, because I know that this is a perfect square. A special factor, so I'm going to write 2x plus 1 and 2x minus 1 over x. So now we're ready to do our division. So we're going to copy the first term, which is 2x plus 1 over x. I'm going to change it to times. I'm going to flip the second fraction here, or the bottom fraction. So this would be x, 2x plus 1 over, times 2x minus 1. Now, let's cancel. So the x goes away. 2x plus 1 goes away. So my final answer will be 1 over 2x minus 1. Whoops. And that's going to be my answer. Okay. Okay, we're ready for problem number 8. Basically, this is my problem. So first thing I can do here on the top is, I notice that I can factor the denominator. So basically I'm going to copy the top, x plus 3. But on the bottom, I can go ahead and factor that as x minus 3, x plus 3. Okay. On the bottom, if I do my denominator, I'll have x minus 3 and my first denominator, I only have a 1, but the second denominator is going to be x minus 3. So my LCD is going to be x minus 3. Okay, so with that, I copy my first number and I compare with my LCD. So basically I'm missing the x minus 3. So I multiply top and bottom by x minus 3. Excuse me. Then copy the second fraction. Compare that with the LCD, and we notice that we're not missing anything, so we don't have to do anything. So on the top, we're okay. We're just waiting. But on the bottom, we notice that we have a common denominator now, x minus 3. And here I'll do the multiplication. So 1 times x is x. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. And then we have plus 1. Alright. I don't know if you noticed, but these two can be cancelled. So that would be 1 over x minus 3. On the bottom, I'm going to have negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2 over x minus 3. So now we're ready to do our multiplication, our division. So this would be 1 over x minus 3 times, I'm going to flip the second term, so x minus 3 over x minus 2. It means the x minus 3 is going to go away. My final answer is 1 over x minus 2. And that's my answer. Alright, let's go on to problem number 9. Problem number 9 is 2 over x plus 2 plus 6 over x plus 7 divided by 4x plus 13 over x squared plus 9x plus 14. Alright. First thing I'm going to do is find the common denominator for the top. So I have x plus 2. And I also have x plus 7. And when I compare them, my LCD is going to be x plus 2, x plus 7. So, copy the first fraction, compare that denominator with the LCD. What is missing? We're missing the x plus 7. So that's what we're going to multiply top and bottom by. Then we're going to add the other fraction. And what we're going to multiply? We're going to multiply by what's missing, which is x plus 2 over x plus 2. Alright. Now here, on the bottom, all I can do is simplify this rational. So there's nothing I can do on the top, but on the bottom, I ask myself, can I factor anything from all three terms? The answer is no. Can I use special factors? No, because this is not a perfect square. So let's do the last option, which is multiply 1 times 14. Let's multiply 1 times 14 here on the side. It would be 14. What should numbers give me 14? 1 and 14. 2 and 7. And that's it. Which one will give me a 9? That will be the 7 and the 2. The 7 would have to be positive, so therefore the 2 also have to be positive. A positive and a positive gives me a 14. Because this is a 1, I can go directly into the parentheses, and all I have to do is write these numbers right there. So this would be plus 2 and plus 7. Alright, now let's go ahead and go back to the top. We found out a common denominator, which is x plus 2, x plus 7. And here I would multiply 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 7 is 14. So basically I'm using distributive property. So So if you want, you can put a parenthesis there to remind that this is going to be distributive property. Same thing here. You want to do that. So this would be plus 6x plus 12. On the bottom, we're just waiting for the division to start. So we're just going to keep those going there. Alright, now what we're going to do is combine like terms. So I'm going to get, on the top, I'm going to get 8x. 14 plus 12 is 26 over x plus 2, x plus 7. And on the bottom I have 4x plus 13 over x plus 2, x plus 7. Now I'm ready to do the division. So basically, I'm going to copy the first fraction on top. And by the way, can I factor anything from 8 and 26? And the answer is yes. I can factor out I believe a 2. So that would be 4x plus 13. So I factor out a 2 from each one of these. On the bottom I have x plus 2, x plus 7. Change the division to times. I'm going to flip the second fraction here. So x plus 2 is going to go to the top. X plus 7 as well. And on the bottom I'm going to have 4x plus 13. And now I'm ready to cancel. So you notice 4x plus 13 cancels. X plus 2 cancels. X plus 7 cancels. And the only thing I'm left with is a 2. And that's problem number 9 for you. Okay. Alright, let's go on to problem number 10. Alright, so here's problem number 10. Problem number 10 is going to be a raised to the negative third plus b to the negative first, a to the negative second. Alright. So it's a little bit different because I have negative exponents. So first thing I need to do is get rid of the negative exponents. So what I'm going to do to get rid of negative exponents is flip them. So that means whenever I flip, the negative disappears. So this would be 1 over b. And this would be 1 over a squared. Okay, on the top here, we can try to find the common denominator. So let's do our LCD here. I have a to the third. Second denominator, I have a b. So that means my LCD is going to be a to the third b. Alright, so that means I copy my first fraction and I compare that with my LCD and ask myself, what am I missing? I'm missing a b, so that's what I'm going to multiply top and bottom by. Copy the second fraction, compare with the LCD, what am I missing? I'm missing a to the third. Alright. On the bottom we're not doing anything, just waiting. Okay, so on the top now we have a common denominator of a cubed b, and we have 1 times b is b, 1 times a cubed is a cubed, over 1 over a squared. Now we're ready to do the division. So we're going to copy the first term as it is. I'm going to change the division to times, and we're going to flip the second fraction. So with that, my final answer, if you notice, the a squared is going to cancel with the a cubed. The a is going to stay on the bottom. It's going to be a to the first, and the b. And on top, I'm just going to have b plus a cubed. So in other words, a squared cancels with these. And that's my answer. Alright, let's go ahead and do number 11 now. Number 11 is going to be x to the negative 1 plus 2xy minus 1 over x to the negative 2 plus, minus x to the negative 2, y to the negative first. Alright, so let's go ahead and flip them first. So this would be 1 over x plus, now if you notice, the 2 does not have a negative exponent. The only thing that has a negative exponent is the y. Now, had this been like this, 2x, y, parenthesis negative 1, then I would flip every single term. In other words, it would be 1 on top and 2xy. But because that's not the case over here, the negative 1 only impacts the y. So that means the 2x stays on top and the y flips. So please be careful. You will flip 2x and y only and only if you have parentheses. Okay? So just be careful with that. Alright, let's erase that. Okay, let's do the same on the bottom. So I'm going to have 1 over x squared minus the x squared goes to the bottom, the y to the negative first goes to the bottom, and I'm left with 1 on top. Alright, let's find the common denominator for the top. First denominator is x, second denominator is y, therefore my LCD is xy. So therefore we copy the first fraction, compare our denominator with the LCD. What am I missing? Missing a y, so multiply top and bottom by y. Copy the second fraction, which is 2x over y. Compared to LCD, we're missing the x, so multiply top and bottom by x. Alright, let's do the same thing on the bottom. First denominator is x squared, second denominator is x squared y. That means my LCD is going to be x squared y. Alright, so we copy the first fraction, compare the denominator with the LCD. We're missing a y, so we're going to multiply top and bottom by y. Copy the second fraction, compare with the LCD. We notice that we're not missing anything, so we leave it like that. Alright, so let's continue now. So that means on top, my common denominator is xy. This would be 1 times y is y. 2x times x is 2x squared. On the bottom, my common denominator is x squared y. And 1 times y is y minus 1. Alright, let's do the division now. We copy the first fraction. Change division to times. Flip the second fraction. Alright, who we're going to cancel? Cancel the y. Cancel the x. So that means I'm left with x, y plus 2x squared over y minus 1. And that's my answer for this problem. Alright, let's go on to the next problem. Our last example, I believe. It will be example number 12. And the problem is this one. And on this case, I'm going to flip the whole thing because there's a parenthesis. So that means 1 over 2x plus 1. On the bottom one, if you notice, there's no parenthesis, so the 2 stays on top, but the only thing that flips is the x minus 1. If I find the common denominator for the top, I have 2x I don't have anything on the second term, so that means my LCD is 2x. Alright, with that in mind, copy the first fraction. Compare with the LCD, nothing is missing. So copy the second term. What am I missing? I'm missing 2x, top and bottom. Alright, then go on to the next one, the bottom one. So copy 2 over x. Let's find the LCD, by the way. The LCD is x. On the bottom here, I only have 1. So that means my LCD is x. So when I compare this with my LCD, nothing is missing. Copy the next number. What am I missing? Missing an x. Alright, so now I made sure that I have a common denominator. On the top, my common denominator is 2x, and this would be 1 plus 2x. On the bottom, I'm going to have x squared, and I'm going to get 2 minus x. Alright, so let's do the division. 1 plus 2x over 2x times, flip the second term, and remember to flip this guy around. So that means this would be, and also this one, because we always want to have the x in the front, so 2x plus 1 over 2x. Here, if we flip it, this would be negative x plus 2. Remember, we don't like to have the negative in front of the x, so let's factor out negative 1. So this would be x minus 2. Okay, now let's cancel. I can cancel this x with one of the x's on top. And that's about it. So my answer is x, 2x plus 1. I have a negative in the bottom, so this would be negative 2, x minus 2. You can leave the negative there, or you can put it right here on the front. It doesn't matter. Okay, so that will be my final answer. Alright, so that concludes the lesson for today. Here's your assignment. It will be assignment A number 7, and will be chapter 10.3, the practice, numbers 1A, 1B, 1C, 3 and 4, and will be chapter 10.3, exercise set, numbers 1 through 49, odd. Alright, so that concludes our lesson for today. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.